Alright guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to another video. We have a 200% lead showcase around the Dragon Ball Fusion's EZA Coolieza, a unit that's really taken me by surprise recently. So now we're going to properly showcase him, see what he can do, let him build up, because he does stack, and see how good we can get him to. He's also rainbowed, by the way. I've gone for the split as well to give him an extra additional, but as I said, a unit has really taken me by surprise and looks very, very good under Cooler's 200% lead. We have the team ready. We also have Turles here for the support. Let me know what you think down in the comments. I have a lot of 200% lead videos I want to get around to doing, so do make sure you are subscribed, like the video. And I don't usually say this, but why not? Turn the bell on and then you'll be notified when I drop new videos. But let's hop into it and see what he can do. Okay, so here we are. Originally a unit that I didn't actually, along with a lot of the other Dragon Ball Fusion units and also some of the Heroes units, I didn't actually initially EZA or Dokkan Awaken when they first dropped. So only recently I've started to use this guy with Cooler's 200% lead, and as I said, I'm actually really impressed. The only thing that lets this guy down immediately is his link set. He does have some of the common Cooler and Frieza links. I mean, it's to be expected. He is a literal fusion of Cooler and Frieza. You know, he has Universe's Most Malevolent, Strongest Clan in Space, Thirst for Conquest, Metamorphosis, and also Fear and Faith, which a few Frieza units have. The only thing is the majority of the links he has from the typical Cooler and Frieza units is they are the key links, which, I mean, it's not bad, but considering it's a guy who can stack, it would be nice if you had a few more attack links to do some extra damage. But still, it's not a bad link set, but the majority of them are key links. So we are going to have him linked up with Cooler, because he does have most of his important links active. The ones he is missing is literally the key links, which, considering he's the only unit really need to prioritize on rotation with LR Final Form Cooler, it doesn't really matter. So turn 1, starting with 141k attack stat and 75k defense. Obviously nothing impressive whatsoever. But the main important thing is he does greatly raise attack on super and raises defense. So he stacks both attack and defense, but he raises the attack by 50% and raises defense by 30%. It would have been nice if he greatly raised both, but you know, beggars can't really be choosers, and this is where the built-in additional really does come in handy. So continuing on with what I was saying, he's going to be very useful for longer events. Goku and Vegeta event he's going to be perfect for, so he's going to be stacking up both the entire time. Again, it would have been a little bit more useful if he did greatly raise on both, or greatly raise defense and raise attack by 30%, because defense is so valuable. But the fact he raises both is good enough. So he can actually start putting out some pretty decent attack, offensive numbers. And he does get attack and defense plus 120 at the start of turn when performing a super attack. So a unit that you really want to kind of avoid being in slot 1, because the majority of his numbers, the majority of his boosts of that 120 is coming on super. So it's a slot 2, slot 3 unit in harder content, which people have used him in red zone. I've attempted using him in red zone. It's possible to use him in red zone. I just didn't use him in the run I did. I've seen people use him against Frieza as well. You're probably going to want to leave him in slot 2 to build up a bit, or have him in slot 3 where he's kind of away from the danger and stack him up as much as possible, because again, he's getting that attack and defense plus 120 when performing a super attack, which is multiplicative, but again, he's not getting anything at the start of turn, just that, along with the fact, of course, he's going to be stacking the entire time. He also has a chance of launching an additional super attack, which is great. That's a 50% chance of launching an additional on a unit that stacks. Obviously, that's very helpful, and that's where most of his numbers are going to be coming from. And on top of the fact he's rainbowed, if you have any dupes, you have the initial super, you have the high chance of launching additional super attack in the passive, and the additional that can come from the dupe system. So he could potentially super attack 3 times in one turn. That means he'll greatly raise his attack by 150%, that is stacking by 150%, and stacking his defense up 3 times in a turn as well. So we do have our first rotation with some Turles support, and I think he's stacked twice so far. And with the support on 2 stacks, he's already on a 370k attack stat and 137k defense. The attack stat, of course, looking a little bit more healthier, looking a little bit more juicier. So he's raising it by 50% each time he supers. Whereas the defense, not quite there yet, which is why you probably want to slow down in some events, let him build up. He's already up to 519k attack stat with the support as well, which is kind of nuts. But he's definitely going to be very, very good. He's already up to a 4 million attack stat with support, which is just dope. And look at the crits. Look how much damage he's doing on crits. There's another additional. Can we get the dupe system additional? I mean, we did, but it wasn't a super. So he's already doing some great damage on crits as well. He's already stacking up his attack to very good lengths. It's just his defense, which isn't quite there yet. But again, most of his defense is going to be coming when he supers anyway, from stacking and getting that 120 when performing a super attack. So his defense is in an okay spot, or a pretty solid spot while he's stacking when he hits a super. Also, combined with the fact you may have dupes, but in my scenario, in this case, my one is rainbowed, and I've gone with the even split. He also has a 10% chance with each super attack performed to increase his crit chance. So obviously it only goes up to 30%, but I mean a 30% chance to crit just built up in his passive off 3 supers is still very good. So even if you don't have dupes in this guy will still have a 30% chance once he's done 3 super attacks to perform a crit, which is very easy to stack up. So of course you have the initial super and he has a built-in super anyway. So even if you don't have any dupes in him and you can't get another additional from the dupe system, you can literally have him on 2 out of the 3 supers done in 1 turn of him being there. If you have dupes in him like I do, you can literally have his crit chance built up to 30% in the first turn of seeing him if the additional from the dupe system does become a super attack. So a 30% chance to crit in general with no dupes is great, and a 30% chance to crit on top of the crit chance you will have from the dupe system as well is also very nice. And then to top it off, and this is another reason why he's useful in harder content, again, going to be amazing in Goku and Vegeta event, which I'm actually probably going to try him in now that he does have a 200% lead, and now that I've actually finally easy A'd him. As I said, I didn't initially easy A him on release, I easy A'd him in like the last 2 weeks. And this is where he's really caught my attention. So I'll probably end up doing that, or maybe I'll take him on a 170 lead on the Goku and Vegeta event to kind of have more realistic setting for him, because otherwise that's just far too easy for him, but we'll see. But this is another reason why he's good in like Red Zone and things like that, is because he also has support for Wicked Bloodline. It's also for Fusion, but you're never going to have him on a Fusion category team, just because he doesn't link well with them apart from Fuse Fighter and maybe Shattering the Limit. But he also has support for Wicked Bloodline, which a lot of the good Terrifying Conquering units, of course, which Cooler now 200% leads, and because of the units that he links to are Freezer units, Golden Freezer units, other Cooler units, especially with potentially Dokkan Flash transforming Cooler getting an Easy A in part 2, Meta Cooler getting an Easy A in part 2, the Meta Cooler probably coming in part 2, LR Golden Freezer coming out in a few months. He will support most of the units you're going to be bringing on those categories, and Cooler being one of the most important ones to help him do more damage in the harder content, which is mainly just leave Red Zone stages up to Cooler while the rest of the team tanks, and also extra defense as well. So he's a very good, versatile, well-rounded unit. We do also have an extra link currently with this freezer right here, which is literally just Fear and Faith, which is a key link. But with no support of the stacking, we're on a 425k attack stat, which is looking very good. Again, because the defense is only being stacked up by 30% each time, he is only on 105k defense. But again, that's not going to look that healthy at the start of turn, because again, he gets most of his boost in his passive, that 120% attack and defense, when performing a super attack. So that defense will jump up. Like, it will jump up quite a lot. So, you know, even though his defense may look quite weak, may look quite bad there, once he supers off a few stacks, his defense is going to be in a pretty solid spot. Which again is why I say, in an event like Goku and Vegeta event, even though it is kind of outdated at this point, he's going to be amazing here. He's on a 3.5 mil attack stat. And look how often he crits. That's that 30% chance to crit in his passive, and also the fact he's rainbowed. So not only that, he's also going to be critting the majority of the time as well, which means he's going to be doing some pretty good numbers, even if you don't have his attack stat on like some ridiculous number, like, you know, 900k plus a mil. Which, to be fair, getting him there is pretty easy anyway, considering, as I said, he is greatly raising attack by 50% every time he supers. So, I mean, him critting is going to be happening the majority of the time anyway, especially if you have dupes, which means he's doing some pretty impressive damage. But stacking both attack and defense, the 120 on super, which again does mean you want him in slot 2. In harder content, you probably want him in slot 2 for him to stack up a bit, then rotate him off so you can utilize the Wicked Bloodline support with Cooler's 200% lead team, and also so you can avoid you know, as many attacks and also possible super attacks as possible. It's a lot of time in Red Zone, you're getting super attacks in slot 1. So you know, you want to have him in slot 3 and also utilize the support he has as well. But he's a very versatile unit. Stacks both, actually does some pretty good damage, especially when he's going to be critting the majority of the time. The support as well. Solid defense off a few stacks and he supers. So he's actually pretty good. And again, especially on Coolier's 200% lead. As I said, so many units have benefited from Coolier's 200% lead, because it's another terrifying Conqueror's 200% lead as well. And also don't forget movie bosses as well. There's some very good units on there, like LR Janemba, Turles, Broly, etc, etc. More Golden Frieza units. And because it's a Coolier unit, they all work so well. They're all so cohesive. There's so much synergy there because they're Coolier and Frieza units, and they share pretty much the same link set. Even this guy, who to be fair is majority key links. Where are we up to now? Almost a 500k attack stat, 150k defense. That is a 150k defense, and then at 120 attack and defense when performing a super attack is multiplicative. His defense just jumps up so much. I don't know the exact maths, but that is a lot of defense to gain on super. That's also a lot of attack to gain on super as well. That's why his crits do so much damage, even if you haven't stacked up too much. But that's why he's doing 3 million plus crits at ease. Not just because he's stacking up, but because you get the 120 attack and defense when performing a super attack. He's not even on a 4 mil attack stat, and his crits are doing 3 mil damage. And as I said, the fact he has a high chance of launching an additional super attack just helps him build up even quicker. And if you have dupes, of course, you could build up even quicker than that, which is very helpful on the defensive side of things, especially in harder content like Red Zone. But also because, again, just like Cooler, the accumulative damage this guy can do, again, combined with attack, he will have 30% chance to crit. You may also have dupes on him, which is an even higher chance to crit. He could also, and also that's a separate chance to crit as well. So you could have a 30% chance to crit on the initial super attack. So though he could crit there off a few stacks. So let's take for example that turn. 3 mil on a crit on a super. You could additional again, which means he's doing even more damage on the second additional because he greatly raises attack, also raising defense, which is also very handy. Just raising his attack and defense anyway. You can also crit on the second super. You can also crit on the third super, which means his combined amounts of damage can easily be in the somewhere the region of 9-10 plus million with ease off a few stacks. As I said, just like Final Form Cooler, this guy with a few stacks, the amount of combined damage he has the potential of doing is just generally ridiculous. Because don't forget, this is a Dragon Ball Fusion's Dokkan Awakening and then EZA unit. This isn't a Dokkan Fest. This isn't a unit like that. This is the same thing as like when I reminded people every year during November when we get the Dragon Ball Heroes units. They don't have the same stats, their card stats, as like Dokkan Fest and that. That's why at some points they tend to look a little bit lower. Yes, granted this guy only gets his stats on super and also stacks, but he also has less stats typically than Dokkan Fest etc. in the game. So they're not going to look as impressive anyway. But can you imagine if this guy was a Dokkan Fest? Could you imagine a Dokkan Fest with these type of numbers? You know how much bigger they would be? So the fact he isn't is just generally impressive. And I've actually managed to get all the way to the end of the event, which is just kind of mad. So with the final support, I've just let him kind of stack up and let him do his thing. He's almost on a mil. He's on 255k defense. He's been stacking as well. Again, don't forget, the last super attack we're going to do here, he's going to get attack and defense plus 120% performing a super attack, which means his attack stat is going to jump up on top of this, however many stacks he's going to do this turn. You know, if the additional comes off in the passive, the additional comes off in the dupe system, and that 256k defense with the Turles support is also going to jump up as well. Because of, again, that attack and defense plus 120 we get when performing a super attack, on top of the stacks he's, again, going to be doing. So I'm actually going to put him in slot 1, just to see how he tanks with just over 200k defense right now. And this will be the final rotation to kind of close out the video. I didn't actually mean to go this far into the event. I'm taking 45k on a basic without even supering, that's not bad. This generally might kill us, which I don't really mind. He's kind of done his thing. Yeah, okay, this is what I mean. Because of the 120 on super, you don't want him in slot 1 anywhere near it, but I kind of wanted to see how much he tanked. But as I said, I'm kind of okay with it. But are you seeing how good he is? This is why he's viable in Red Zone under Coolier's 200% lead. And again, he has that support as well for Wicked Bloodline units, which is so handy again at making Cooler even stronger. Not that he needs, and of course any other Wicked Bloodline units you use. He's very good. Very, very good. Greatly raises attack and stacks the attack by 50% every time he supers. Raises defense by 30% and stacks both. The 120 on super, which means both of them jump up after the stacking or even during the stacking. And don't forget that 120 applies every time he supers. So that's why you want to keep him away from slot 1, but that does mean his numbers will jump up quite a bit. And also 30% chance to crit. Without dupes, very handy. 30% chance to crit on top of the fact you would have dupes, which means you have an even more chance to crit on the other supers as well. And again, combined with the support, high chance to launch an additional, which means you can stack quicker. And also, if you have dupes in him, you can also get another additional off to stack even quicker as well. And again, the accumulative damage is just generally ridiculous, especially when you're hitting crits majority of the time as well. This guy right now is probably one of my most favorite non-Dokkan Fest units in the entire game. He has to be. Has to be. But let me know what you think down in the comments. I'm definitely going to try him again once I get into level 10 links. But let me know what you think down in the comments. Drop a like, subscribe. I'll see you next video, guys. And peace.